is Golick and Wingo. For Monday, May 27th.
Golden State for a 5th consecutive season headed back to the NBA Finals.
For the last 3 years, everybody is taking their shots and trying to break us down. But at the end of the day, it's all about winning. And no matter who's on the floor, that's what we're about.
They've finally done it. The Raptors are the Eastern Conference champs. And for the first time ever, the NBA Finals will be played on Canadian soil.
Hawaii is so aggressive.
We, the bleeping North, was out in full force.
You're on fire with the bleeping.
It's Memorial Day. We're playing fast and loose out here.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Freeze in full effect.
Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Jason Fitz, Mike Golick Jr. in for Trey. Wingo and Mike Golick. And as you just heard, for the first time ever, we get NBA Finals in Toronto. We, the North, is going to face off against Golden State. We'll get there's going to be some frequent flyer miles logged in that one. I mean, it's going to be a lot of back and forth. The travel on that is going to be hard.
And more importantly, obviously, we know Drake became the central figure in the Toronto series against Milwaukee, now going up against E40. Let's see how that goes, man. The Bay Area's very own.
There's a litany of hip-hop acts from the Bay Area from generations. It could decide to step up and take on Drake. I would be all for that. Like, let's just have a counterbalance to Drake with any of the legends that are out there.
My favorite was it coming full circle, and you saw the footage after the celebration. Toronto beats Milwaukee in Game 6 on their home floor. The celebration ensues, and the embrace between Nick Nurse and Drake, who had already scored one of the Eastern Conference championship hats.
I still maintain that Drake should wear a Golden State. He should wear Golden State gear head to toe. Because, think of it this way, if the Drake curse wants to be broken, if Golden State wins, then he broke the curse, right? And if Golden State loses, then he becomes all-powerful in his ability to curse any team for the good of his own team. I mean, this is a win-win for Drake.
So you're saying high risk, high reward on the big stage in here.
Well, it's reward either way. Like, if Golden State wins, then, hey, no more curse. Curse is broken. That's got to mean something.
I don't think if you're Drake, you want the curse broken. I think you always want to have that tool in your belt so you can keep your name out there the way he is very masterful at doing so.
Yeah, he is crushing that. The Raptors put their best foot forward in Game 6. Best foot forward brought to you by Odor Eaters. Destroy foot odor with Odor Eaters. It's Golick and Wingo. We want to get you caught up on, obviously, a big NFL story from over the course of the weekend. New England Patriots tight end Benjamin Watson is facing a 4-game suspension for a failed test in March of the NFL's substance policy. Now, we hear that a lot, Mike, and you hear 4-game suspension, and immediately most football fans roll their eyes and say, oh, my God, how did you do that? Why did you do that? Benjamin Watson's situation is a little different.
Yeah, Ben Watson's situation is different, because most people, when you hear about this happening, it generally tends to be guys that are, trying to stick around in a roster, guys that are sort of on the bubble. Ben Watson's a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee consistently. He's been one of the faces of the NFL as far as character guys, so it might seem a little shocking at first. Ben Watson took to his Facebook page and made a post explaining kind of what happened. You remember, he retired this offseason. He said, quote, after my contract expired last March, I told my doctors I was finished playing. I went through a series of medical tests and was prescribed bioidentical testosterone cypionate to assist in healing my body and mind. On March 29th, 9 days after I started therapy, I was randomly tested under our substance policies. I complied out of habit, never thinking in a moment I'd want to come back. In late April, some clubs expressed interest in me playing, and after much deliberation and prayer, I decided I wanted to return. Considering myself previously retired, I'd forgotten all about my test in March until I got a letter on May 3rd saying my results were positive. I was devastated and for obvious reasons did not want to proceed. At that point, I knew my decision to return to play would include a 4-game suspension, and I immediately discussed this new development with the clubs. I'm excited and thankful to return to New England, but very disappointed I will not be able to play and contribute immediately. Went on to say this is not how he wanted to come back into a locker room, but basically saying, I was prescribed this when I thought I was done playing. I decided to come back and play. Now this became an issue.
All of it makes sense. I mean, that is a reasonable explanation. You know, always talk about like when you're a little kid and your mom says, don't give me an excuse, like reasons and excuses. Sometimes it's a very gray area. This feels like a very reasonable explanation. At the end of the day, Does the league care? Should the league care? I don't know about that. Like that's the tougher part of it. I mean, it's a great explanation. I don't know that it changes any of the action. He can obviously appeal it. I don't know that to the NFL that they can go down the slippery slope of trying to explain that or trying to let that explanation change the punishment.
And they won't, and Ben's not going to push him on it, which is the other part of this. He said, I respect the regulations that have been collectively bargained to promote fairness on the field of play and accept the discipline associated with my infraction. So he's not going to appeal this. Now, whether the PA would do that on his behalf just because, you know, that's what the PA does. You appeal all of these things to try and guard against anything going forward, but he's not going to appeal that. And honestly, if it were anyone other than Ben Watson, I would have questions about this. Like a guy that retires and gets a test and takes it with no intention of coming back and then forgets about it a month later when he decides to come back. Like most situations, I would say you're too smart to kind of understand that. But Ben Watson is so overwhelmingly regarded as a man of such high character and has always so consistently been that if anyone is going to get the benefit of the doubt from me, it's probably going to be Ben.
Well, yeah, to that point, benefit of the doubt or lack thereof is something that's earned based on past action. And that's there has to be some equity for the way that you've sort of spent your career and the person you've been, and especially even to your point with his closing comment that he's not going to challenge it. I mean, that's just sort of even more puts a feather in the cap of, look, I understand why this is happening. This is what I did. This is how it happens. Now, it does create a little bit of a situation for the Patriots at a position that was also already presumed to be thin because of the loss of Rob Gronkowski. Now, nobody here is going to say that Ben Watson was going to replace Rob Gronkowski. We understand that. We all expect a different look to the Patriots offense this fall to try and make up for that production somewhere. And N'Keal Harry is somebody that we've heard a lot about, big body, and Rob Ninkovich talked about him last week on the show. There's been several conversations about he's going to get a lot of looks to sort of replace some of that production. It, though, does create a little bit of a lack of a solid piece that you can rely on, that you know what you're going to get out of for the first 4 weeks of the season.
It's perfect. For a guy that's heading into his 15th NFL season who's 38 years old, he's now going to get the first 4 weeks of the season to chill. Like, he's going to get the first 4 weeks of the season on the shelf. The Patriots are going to be a playoff team. They're going to figure out what to do in a post-Gronkowski world. That's just, you talk about benefit of the doubt. That's the benefit of the doubt that we give them. So now he gets 4 games on the shelf to come back later in the season, where we still haven't ruled out the idea that Rob Gronkowski might be someone they call upon if there's another postseason run in store for the Patriots. So in my mind, in this situation, because also any sort of PED infraction is not anything NFL fans really care about. We've demonstrated that time and time again. All right, serve your suspension, get back out in the field, start playing more football for us. But this is the perfect blueprint of how to deal with it and get behind you. Transparency about the process, accepting the penalty and not really going and making this some sort of lengthy appeals, and then worrying about getting back on the field and being the man we all know Ben Watson to be. It's the perfect blueprint for anyone to follow who's in this situation in the future.
It's a little bit like the concept in general in the NBA of managing minutes, right? Like you're by some default of 4 games off, you're sort of managing Ben Watson and what's going to be demanded of him. And to your point, I'm not willing to sit down and wholeheartedly say that Rob Gronkowski is done, that he's not going to come back later in the season. So it's sort of like one of those jarring moments when you step back and you think, wow. So by the end of the year, they end up with Ben Watson and Rob Gronkowski as their 2 tight ends, should they want to, going into the playoffs, that inevitably they will make because they make them every year.
Well, I'd say it's the Patriot effect. It's the weight of all of that. It's us knowing that, all right, in an AFC East that we think might be getting better in certain places is still not there yet with the youth at the quarterback position and all of those other teams. And so you know they're going to kind of have that usual path to the playoffs, and you know they're used to making chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what as they just re-signed Julian Edelman to have some stability in that offensive skill group. Things just tend to work out for them. If this was any other team, if this was the Browns of 2 years ago, we'd be saying, oh, same old Browns. Something like this happens to you, of course, down on your luck. For the Patriots, you can look at it and say, all right, well, all things considered, if anyone can absorb this and then it somehow look as a positive, it's them.
Well, and ultimately that has to come back to at least partially to the general concept that there's nobody in the East that's ready to contend with them. I mean, I can't look across the AFC East and suddenly figure out an easy path to any of those teams competing with the Patriots at this level. Like, I'm not looking at the Dolphins, the Bills, or the Jets thinking this is the year that they're all going to win 10 games. So there's a little bit of you got some time to get it right, because you could win that division with a less than stellar record. Not that that's where New England will fall, but it's a luxury to have.
You've got the greatest quarterback in the history of pro football going up against 3/5 of the 2018 draft class. Like that's what the AFC is now, with Josh Allen, with Sam Darnold, and then with Josh Rosen now in Miami, who we think is going to get a crack at it this year. You've got a bunch of guys going into their second year of professional sports going up against the greatest player we've ever seen at the position. And the greatest coach that we've ever seen in the NFL. So they've had a buffer. I mean, that's part of the Patriots' run of dominance, as well as the rest of this division was always in flux and chasing them. And now it's young, and hopefully they're all building towards a Tom Brady-less future there in their timeline, but that doesn't help them this year.
That is such a spectacular reality to be in, where it's like, hey, guys, let's just build for the hope that at some point Brady walks, and then, hey, we'll be really good in 3 years. Like, is that your sales pitch to your fan base? It's like, let's just wait till Brady goes.
And don't get me wrong, like, especially those New York teams that we talked about are in position. Miami, we thought, was kind of getting ready to tank this season, and then some things happen around the draft for them. But if you're Buffalo, all right, you brought in Ed Oliver on defense now and have loaded up on weapons on offense for Josh Allen at this point and given him some offensive line stability. For the Jets, you went out and drafted Quinnen Williams with the 3rd overall pick. You signed C.J. Mosley this offseason, and you've got a new head coach in Adam Gase, who your young quarterback seems to really be gelling with early on in this process. There's reason to hope for the future, and you added Le'Veon Bell in the offseason, lest I forget that move. You've got reason to hope in the future, but none of it's going to help your second-year quarterback beat a defensive-minded head coach in Bill Belichick, who is going to throw the kitchen sink at these young guys and relish in confusing them.
Yeah, and you're right. There's reason for hope. I'm not trying to be, a Debbie Downer this early in the offseason, because offseason is about hope for everybody. But you could conversely turn around and say, man, Josh Allen, completion percentage is not what it needs to be. Is he going to be a quarterback that you can rely on? The Jets just hired somebody that got fired from Miami, now has full creative control over the entire roster. And, let's see what that quarterback situation looks like. Does he or does he not want Le'Veon? But, like, you could make the counter argument across the division and sort of scratch your head.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick might start the season for the Dolphins, and we know the roller coaster ride that he is. It's an exciting one for all of us, because for 3 weeks he's going to be an MVP candidate before that bottoms out. But other than that, it's business as usual for the Patriots.
Anything that keeps the name Fitzmagic out of all of this, because let's acknowledge his last name is Fitzpatrick. Some of us have a last name that's just Fitz.
Oh, God.
Not Fitz anything, okay? His name should be Fitzpatrick Magic, not Fitzmagic. That's all I'm saying.
Your name should be just Fitz.
Wow, that's not bad. Go Look and Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We've said it all morning. I'll say it again. Memorial Day edition. We do want to take a moment and acknowledge what's truly important today, which is everybody that sacrificed so much to give us the opportunity to talk about sports for a living.
Absolutely. The men and women in the armed forces, the ones that paid the ultimate sacrifices. We all sit around, and most people that are listening to the show are probably enjoying a day off of work, probably getting to spend time with their family and their loved ones. So just relish in that moment, because there's a lot of people that won't get that opportunity ever again and made those necessary sacrifices to protect freedom. So our sincere thank you to all of those men and women and their families who also remember on this day.
Let's get you caught up on some of the action from the weekend with what's trending. It was a historic finish. It was a battle for the ages. It was iconic. I can't think of any other cliches to use. But the Indy 500 was really stinking good. Simon Pagenaud defeated Alexander Rossi with a dramatic pass on the penultimate lap, then holding on the rest of the way to get the win in the greatest spectacle in racing. I just like that I went greatest spectacle in racing there. It felt good about that.
It felt right for you? Well, I'm glad it felt right. This felt very comfortable for the Penske Racing team. So Pagenaud gets his first Indy 500 win, but he was one of 3 Penske drivers to be the top 3 favorites to win this race. And it was now the 18th win for the Penske team, 13 more than the next 12 or 13 more. I forget the exact number.
A bunch more.
In this, 13 more than the next closest in this. So it's been impressive, but I want to hear from Pagenaud, because we have a much more important conversation. So he talked to our own Ryan McGee after the race.
He did. This is what he said.
It has been over a century since someone from France, Jules Gou, won this race. How's it feel?
Oh, man, it feels unreal. It's going to take me a little bit of time to process it, but I tell you what, this is for any racer, I think. But I've been dreaming to be a race car driver since I'm 4 years old. I'm not from a racing family, and it's just incredible to be able to achieve all the dream that you set for yourself. All I can say is, kids, always believe in your dream. Everything's possible. Just work hard for it, and they will happen.
A very worthwhile message from Simon Pagenaud. We are very happy for him in this moment. But Ryan McGee said a game you need to know there. Jules Gu won the 1913 Indy 500 race in a manner today that would get him arrested. This courtesy of Will Higgins in the Indy Star. According to numerous press accounts of that race in 1913, Gu drank either wine or champagne all throughout the race. By the time he took the checkered flag, he had consumed 6 pints. Woo! He was drinking champagne or wine during the pit stops of that race. There are so many tentacles to this, but the fact that I didn't know this guy existed till this morning, and now I only want to know and consume Jules Gu related what's the word I'm looking for here? Information is a testament to what he's done.
He spoke no English, but according to reports, during his first pit stop, he came in for a tire change. And he said, I won't say the French version, I can't, but the English translation, fetch me a pint of wine or I'm done. I love that. Fetch me a pint of wine or I'm done. That sounds like about half the people in my family. Fetch me a pint of wine or I'm done.
So one of the crewmen went into the grandstand to search for some. One of the searchings, quote, happened on a party of millionaires from Pittsburgh who furnished the excited pitmen with half a dozen small bottles containing the most select vintage in La Belle France.
Wow.
I mean, what world? This guy was drunk driving during the Indy 500 in 1913.
So
what the hell is going on?
This is sort of the equivalent of you walking in and saying, I won't finish the show unless you fetch me a pint of wine. And then I just start circling the parking lot until I find like really fancy wine, and people are like, give it up.
If we sent Devin over and he found a bunch of Pittsburgh millionaires somewhere in Bristol, and then we got wine drunk during the rest of the show, we too could be Jules Gu.
I still, though,
Not
go
against it.
Like, how much wine did the millionaires have on hand that they just gave up 6 pints of it? Like, I mean, 6 pints of wine feels like a lot of wine to just give up from your party.
Hopefully we can dig up more on this, but just wanted to give you the proper context of the now storied history of French drivers that Simon Pagenaud joins.
Speaking of proper context, nobody at our network better prepared for proper context on this than you.
This is a big one, guys. This is my yearly pitch, so you just have to bear with me here. The NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championship is going on later today. Yale's going to take on Virginia. Yale coming off their unbelievable, stunning win against number 1 seeded Penn State in the semifinal action. Virginia beat Duke for the first time in 9 years in their semifinal to advance on now. It's going to be an exciting weekend there. You're going to see arguably the best face-off man in the history of the sport in T.D. Yernan for the Yale Bulldogs, who are going to try to defend their title. Would be the first back-to-back winners since Duke did it a few years back. And we had the women's national championship go on yesterday. Maryland finished a 22-1 season. Coach Kathy Reese and their team go on to win a 14th national championship for the Maryland women over the Boston College team. So it's an awesome weekend for lacrosse. The women's final was in Baltimore. The men's national championship will be in Philadelphia today. So it's going to be a great stuff. It really is such a sport near and dear to me. And so if you've never checked it out, this is a great weekend to do it. Our broadcast crews do an unreal job of updating people on the rules, and they instituted a shot clock this year. I know we talk about it for baseball all the time. It's made a much more fast-paced and I think more fun sport. This has been the highest scoring tournament in the history of the sport. So get in while you can right now.
You mentioned you can watch it today, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 is where you can get the men's championship. And again, congratulations to Maryland for their women's championship. Fear the turtle. That's all I have to say about that is fear the turtle. It's a thing.
That's the extent of your lacrosse. That's Jason Fitz does lacrosse.
No, I used to spend a lot of time around College Park, and they always, College Park, Maryland, big on the fear of the turtle. So I'm just
and big on winning women's lax national championships.
I have never felt, well, not never. I rarely feel as uncool as I felt the other day hanging out with Mike Oler Jr. and Clinton Yates as they broke down lacrosse matchups. And I sat there and realized that I did not fit into that conversation at all.
Chopping it up, man.
Yeah.
Grab your spoon and let's get some top cheddar.
No idea what any of that means. Kevin Biggio, the son of Hall of Famer Craig Biggio, recorded the first 3 hits of his big league career, including a home run with his father in the stands at Rogers Center on Sunday. Pretty special moment for the family.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool moment anytime you get to see another generation and this one's pretty cool. So Kevon Biggio was also a Notre Dame baseball player, so I got to see him and his dad Craig around the program in South Bend. But a cool moment for him and for Mike Yastrzemski, the grandson of Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski, hit 8th in the lineup and played left field and went 3 for 4 for San Fran this weekend also. So a big weekend for the next generation of guys. Saw a picture, I think, of Kevon Biggio with Vlad Guerrero Jr. also from over the weekend now. So a lot of these names, it shows you
how old we're all getting.
Well, I'm going to say I'm starting to feel old because obviously I remember a lot of the dads playing in this, and now you see that next generation come up.
I know. It's like, you're old when you're used to listening to Mike Golick on the radio, and then suddenly you're listening to Mike Golick.
Yeah, no,
see what I did there?
It kind of gets a little weird in there.
That's fair.
No, I get it. Listen, I'm probably that for a generation of people also, so I'm sorry for making you all feel old this Memorial Day. Deal with it.
We do want to get everybody caught up on a serious note. Bart Starr, Hall of Fame quarterback who helped build the Green Bay Packers dynasty in the 60s, was named the most valuable player of the first 2 Super Bowls, died Sunday in Birmingham, Alabama. He was 85.
Yeah, and this is one we're going to have Bill Curry on later in the show, who is a teammate of Bart Starr's and someone who will be able to give us a lot of context about the man. And while his passing is extremely unfortunate, I always take these moments as an opportunity, especially as someone who never saw Bart Starr play and can only hear the secondhand accounts, but to learn from all the information we get. Steve Mariucci, who works over at the NFL Network, wrote a great piece that went online the other day, just talking about the influence that Bart Starr had on him as a young coach, someone in his career, and just as a man, what he meant to him, and lauding the person that Bart Starr was. So we'll get Bill on to kind of give us some perspective about that, but you hope everyone takes the time to absorb all the information out there about one of the iconic names in the NFL.
We will continue to get that. You don't want to miss that. That'll be about 9:10 Eastern this morning. You'll get some of those great stories. Coming up next, though, some insight into what went wrong for the Jets. We'll talk to a former Jets GM after this.
After this word from Valspar. Summer's great. It's awesome. It's been a hell of a weekend. But that deck, though, not so much. This year, try something stain-changing. Valspar Solid Color Stain. It's easy to apply all-weather protection that brings so much color and coverage to the party. I like color and coverage at my party. I don't know about you, Jason.
I do. Yes.
You're going to love it. Guaranteed for 10 years. Get Valspar Stain on sale now at Lowe's and mail in to save $15 per gallon or $45 per 5-gallon pail. Valspar Stain. It's stain changing and it's on sale now only at Lowe's. Back after this. It's Golic and Wingo.
This show and all of ESPN is streaming live on the ESPN app. Now with ESPN Plus, where you get more ESPN. Download the ESPN app today and take ESPN everywhere.
O'Reilly. Get your diesel truck ready for Memorial Day weekend. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a gallon of Shell Rotella heavy-duty motor oil for just $13.99. Extend the life of your engine while protecting it from sludge and wear at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Okay, time out. You're gonna let your budget be the boss of you? Take control with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay for car insurance, and we'll help you find options that fit your budget. Here's some music to get you pumped. Da-dong-da-dong-da-dong-da-dong-dang-dang. I hear your budget laughing at you. Oh, wait, that's just those kids laughing at me. Ignore them! Da-dong-da-dong.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
May is high mileage month at CarX Tire on Auto. If your car has 75,000 miles or more, there's never been a better time to see your CarX man. High mileage oil changes, tires, brakes, shocks, and flushes, all at significant savings this month only at CarX. The high mileage experts at CarX have the right parts for your older vehicle, and our trained mechanics can handle installation on any make or model. Save during our high mileage month only at your Central Illinois CarX Tire and Auto.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
As you drive to your vacation destination, you are assured of a trip filled with great memories of your adventures. That's because you came to Midas for a road trip pre-check. Dave and his crew in Urbana inspected and repaired your vehicle in advance for brakes that stop, a transmission that keeps you going, shock absorbers and struts for a smooth ride, an engine tuned for your best mileage and power, and the air conditioning to keep it cool. Nothing beats a secure feeling you get from Midas Tire and Auto in Urbana. Enjoy the scenery and family time knowing that Midas is with you all the way.
Welcome into Reviews. This episode we are focusing in on Luther Falls. Carol gave a 5-star review and said this: I've worked with Luther on several projects over the years. My granite countertops have been gorgeous every time. Cammy, who gave another 5-star review, said, I cannot say enough about the professionalism, dedication, workmanship, knowledge, prices, choices, and everything else about this lovely and ever-growing family business. They installed a custom bathroom, and we are repeat customers with our custom kitchen countertops this month. Give Luther Falls a shot if you're in the Bloomington or Champaign area. Just contact Luther Falls immediately. Go to the website remodelingchampaign.com.
Hey, this is Stephanie Pratt, Cole Banker, the Real Estate Group, your realtor that rocks the real estate market. And my Rockin' Concert series continues with ESPN 93.5. On June 13th, we're heading to see my man Brett Michaels and his awesome band at Tailgate and Tallboys kickoff party on Peoria's Riverfront. Just listen to Tay and Carp weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 p.m. to text in and get qualified. You and a guest will ride in style along with my rockin' friends in a limo from Larry's Limousine Service. Go online and check them out at larry'slimousineservice.com. This ticket includes stage level VIP area and private baths too, valued at over $500. It's my man Brett Michaels live in concert. Just listen to Tay and Carp to get qualified or get details today at StephaniePrattHomes.com. Rock on!
Kick off summer at Kohl's Memorial Day weekend sale. Save on family fun tees starting at $8.99. Swimwear for the family starting at $14.99. And beach towels are just $9.99. Plus, take $10 off your purchase of $25 or more. Plus, get $5 Kohl's cash for every $25 spent. This Thursday through Monday at Kohl's. Select styles. $10 offer valid May 23rd through 27th with promo code SERVICE10. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Listen to Lon Tay and Mike Carpenter. It's Tay and Carp. Weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN 93.5.
Spent years with the symptoms but could never figure it out. No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable. But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms. Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Hey, big guy, you tired of the runaround? You know, going from store to store, never finding your size? Here's a tip. Head to DXL. They are the one-stop shop for men's big and tall clothing, period. And at DXL, you don't have to be all hoity-toity to have a personal stylist. Their fit experts will help you find great styles in your size. It couldn't be easier. So head to DXL.com and check out a store near you. DXL Big and Tall. Built for you at DXL.com.
100 years of hard work can take you far. And no one knows that better than Goodyear. In 1918, we started the Akron Wingfoots basketball team, laced up and took to the court. And we've been outperforming the rest ever since. Goodyear proudly celebrates our 100th anniversary in basketball and our relentless dedication to being unstoppable. Goodyear, more driven.
What it sounded like on IMS Radio Network as Simon Pagenaud wins the Indianapolis 500, his first career Indy 500 win, and the first French-born driver to win an Indy since 1920. Meanwhile, in the NHL, the Blues and the Bruins get ready to open up the Stanley Cup final tonight. St. Louis, it's their first Cup final appearance since 1970. For Boston, ho-hum, their third Cup final appearance since 2011. God. Dear God, this city. Game 1, 8 Eastern tonight. And in the NFL, some sad news to report as Hall of Fame quarterback Bart Starr dies at the age of 85. He led the Green Bay Packers to 5 NFL championships and was the MVP of the first 2 Super Bowls.
SportsCenter is brought to you by 303 Touchless Sealant. No time to wax your car? New 303 Touchless Sealant offers twice the protection and shine of traditional wax in minutes. Spray on and rinse off. Available at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The New York Jets today fired their GM Mike Maccagnan, and I'm more interested in what kind of drama does this portend? What's coming between head coach Adam Gase and star Le'Veon Bell?
Everyone talked about what they thought Le'Veon Bell would make, so it's just kind of interesting to hear the reporting be that one of the points of contention between Adam Gase and Maccagnan was the money given to him.
I think Adam will try to deal with that aggressively and deal with Le'Veon one-on-one and try to put that to bed.
Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Jason Fitz, Mike Golick Jr. in for Trey Wingo and Mike Golick. We are joined in studio by former NFL GM and ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum, giving us the straight talk. Everything for less. Only at Walmart. Mike, happy Memorial Day. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out.
Great to be with you guys. Stanley Cup. And
yeah, we got a lot going on tonight. Stanley Cup, we got to wait a little bit for the NBA Finals, so hockey gets their moment in the sun on this one. And you get to do NFL Live today in the middle of the NFL offseason right now, so I'm sure that's going to be exciting for you. But we were talking during the break, and you actually had a really interesting note for us. On that, we talked before about Benjamin Watson, who was just announced on his Facebook that he's facing a 4-game suspension for violation of the league's substance abuse policy, and how this actually affects the New England Patriots going forward now.
Yeah, so guys, there's one little positive nugget for New England that comes out of this. So for veteran players, if they're on the roster on opening day, their contract for the year becomes fully guaranteed. Since Watson's suspension will start on week 1, his contract will not be guaranteed, and that gives New England a lot of flexibility. So they'll get the benefit of his leadership in the offseason. He'll get to play in the 4 preseason games. He will then become suspended effective week 1. So between now and opening day, if they see an opportunity to get another tight end, I know it's been speculated, but let's say Kyle Rudolph, after his suspension in week 4, they simply could just move on from him. Once in a while, you'll see a player retire after his suspension ends. So a lot can happen between now and week 5 of the regular season. So obviously, I'm sure they were disappointed by the suspension, but it does create an opportunity for them.
As usual, things finding a way to work out for New England where they've got options in this situation.
So New England, everything seems to be a charmed life. There's at least a perception it's not so much for the Jets. You've obviously got a lot of familiarity with that organization. As a former GM, what was your reaction to the timing specifically of Mike Maccagnan being let go?
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the timing of it. Obviously he was in charge of hiring Adam Gase, their head coach. Went through a very robust and aggressive offseason with a lot of free agent signings, and then obviously ran the draft. And then, 18 days later, they moved on from him. So the timing was a surprise. Maybe not the decision because they had gone 4 years without the playoffs. And let's face it, sitting in that seat, you go 4 years without making the playoffs, in that market, that's hard to do. So what's really more important now for the Jets is going forward, they got to get the right guy to partner with Adam Gase.
And that's always important, is that relationship. We talk about the quarterback and the head coach and the GM being on the same page. And with all of this noise going into Adam Gase's first year in New York, and you just mentioned that market specifically and what it's already been like for him, what's it like inside that building when all of this is going on outside you and you're just trying to worry about the business of winning football?
Yeah, you hope the Giants are making some bigger newsworthy some moment when you're not. Coach Parcells always said, hey, Mike, someone's got to be on the back page. Let's hope it's not us. But in all seriousness, what you try to do is really focus on the job. It's a very unique market. I was born there. I lived there for a while. I think what happens is when you go there for the first time from another spot, Mike Maccagnan came from the Houston Texans. It's just different. You got to put your blinders on. You have to have strong conviction in what you're doing from your program. And I always say when you have the privilege of one of these jobs, guys, at the end of the day, I always define it as you have to be the point guard of information, your head coach, your owner. If you're on the same page, that's really the most important thing. So as all this tumult's going on and all this noise and distractions going on, you got to block it out. And if you're aligned with your head coach and your owner, That's what's most important. That's your core audience.
We're talking to Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN NFL analyst on Golic and Wingo. Jason Fitz, Mike Golic Jr. in for the guys. A lot of conversation about OTAs. Odell Beckham Jr. notably skipping it. From a GM standpoint, from a front office standpoint, you hand out a bunch of money and a player isn't there. You trade for somebody and he doesn't show up. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I'm always disappointed. Now, look, we got to keep in mind that it's voluntary, but one time when I was at the Jets, we had Jerry Rice come in and speak to the team, and I'll never forget this, guys. He said in his career he never missed a special teams meeting because if he was at a special teams meeting, everybody else knew how important it was. Likewise, there's no question Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be in great shape. I'm not worried about that, but if he's at the OTA practice, everyone else will be there. So sometimes as a leader, especially when you're early in the program, this is not Tom Brady going to, your 20th year. You're trying to establish a rapport. You got Jarvis Landry. You got a young quarterback in Baker Mayfield. All those reps are really priceless. So sometimes, what I would say to, Odell, look, you're going to be ready. We know that, but you have attributes you can't see. You affect everybody else in this program. If you're here, that's a real force multiplier.
How do you, let me ask you this, though. How do you relay that message without violating any of the collectively bargained rules about being voluntary?
Right. Well, that's exactly right. You preface it by saying you don't have to be here, right? But winning a championship is not an easy thing to do. And every rep we can get, especially with the offseason program being a lot shorter, we go back 5, 6, 7 years ago, guys, we're talking about a 14-week offseason program. It's only 9 weeks. So every day is really valuable. So you don't have to be here. But if we want to do something special, we have to start building it in April, May, and June.
Well, I think especially for such a young team, too,
That's
which
right.
is the difference. You mentioned he's not a young player or not an older veteran player who we're used to, but this is a young team. In most situations, and most veteran guys who have their routine would look at this and say, listen, just show up ready to play, and I don't care how you do it and how you get there, but they've got a lot of moving parts that they're trying to tie together with this.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I know, when we were at the Jets, we always wanted to have a leader in every position group, a Jason Taylor, LaDainian Tomlinson, a Brett Favre, and what we always talked about was their legacy. So Odell Beckham may affect Antonio Galloway, a young wide receiver from University of Florida, in terms of, how do you rest? How do you hydrate? How do you stretch? All those little things that go so far, because for somebody like Beckham to play at the highest level, he does a lot of things right in taking care of his body, how he studies, the notes he takes on his opponents. And those are things, again, that he can instill in the program in the offseason when things are a little bit more quiet. So, again, I respect the fact that these players want to train all over the country. I live in South Florida. You see a lot of the pro athletes down there. But it's a team sport, and the impact you can have on young players is sometimes really hard to quantify.
Talking to Mike Tannenbaum with us in studio, former Jets GM and ESPN NFL insider. Circling back to the Jets situation, one question just kind of popped in my mind because obviously there's the tangent there that Le'Veon Bell's a guy who's been, working out on his own and stuff like that. And Adam Gase and him have both kind of from there and kind of quelled any, talk about a rift between those two. But for this job in general now, you mentioned this is a head coach who is there and now they're searching for a GM. Knowing the way that's set up, if you're a GM, is this a job you're interested in?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think part of the ultimate irony of Mike McCagnon's legacy is the two biggest decisions as a GM are head coach and quarterback. He might have gotten both of them right, and he gets fired. Isn't it going to be interesting? What happens if Sam Darnold turns out to be a great quarterback? Mike McCagnon was the guy that traded up for him. He did a great job with that. So to answer your question, Mike, I would say this. If you look at the job as saying the two hardest decisions may be in place, it's a great job. Now, with that said, for this year, let's face it, the hay's really in the barn. Of course, you're going to tweak the roster. A couple things are going to come up. But for all intents and purposes, your roster is set. So you really can look at it one of two ways. This is a fully formed roster. We just kind of have to manage it for the year. So obviously the dynamic with Adams can be really, really important. But Sam Darnold, to me, is a really interesting quarterback with a lot of upside.
You guys can check him out today on NFL Live. Mike, as always, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you too, guys.
Coming up next, the Warriors have been here before, but there's one first on the line in the NBA Finals. We'll get to that after this.
After this word from Valspar. Summer's great, but about that deck, not so much. This year you can try something stain-changing. Valspar Solid Color Stain. Easy to apply, all-weather protection that brings so much color and coverage to the party. You're going to love it, guaranteed for 10 years. Get Valspar Stain on sale now at Lowe's and mail in to save $15 off per gallon or $45 per 5-gallon pail. That's Valspar Stain. It's stain-changing, and it's on sale now. Only at Lowe's. Back after this, Golic and Wingo.
Wrangler Performance Series. Denim that's made to move with you. Try on a pair today.
Imagining a better bank starts with looking at the savings rates most banks offer and saying, really? Capital One is building something better. You can open a Capital One savings account with one of the nation's best savings rates from anywhere. Like here. Or here. Or here. One of the nation's best savings rates. Opened online at a Capital One location or from anywhere. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One NA member FDIC. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Breezy tank tops, Turkish bathrobes, stretchy pants, all comfortable, but not even close to the comfort of a Serta iComfort mattress. The iComfort has advanced cooling technology, plus cradling, body contouring foam. And right now, select iComfort sets are up to $600 off. Visit your local Serta retailer today and save at the Memorial Day Savings Event. Not just sort of comfortable, Serta comfortable.
Offer may vary. Visit your retailer or Serta.com for details.
You know, I just love going to a Cardinals game. It's me, Mom, Dad. When we're there, I even get along with my little brother.
Hey, you don't mean that.
I'm kidding. But we have so much fun. You're not playing video games. Mom's not rushing around. Dad's back from work. We're all together.
You're right, and usually I get to take home some pretty cool stuff.
That's why a Cardinals game has always been a family day for us.
Make sure and bring your family to Busch Stadium. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Kick off your summer at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals' 2019 season is filled with great matchups, including weekend series with the Cubs, a long-awaited visit from Albert Pujols and the Angels, interleague play against the Astros, and much more. The promotion schedule is packed with jerseys, bobbleheads, and lots of other great giveaways. There's something for everyone at Busch Stadium this summer. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com.
This is Cardinals Hall of Famer Willie McGee. Cardinal baseball. Time to fly.
At Honda BMW, they believe in letting you make the choice when you're ready. And now you don't even need to come into their award-winning dealership to buy your car if you don't want to. Just go to drivechampagne.com. Click on the type of vehicle you're interested in and look to the right-hand side of the page. It says Express Purchase. That means you can buy a car on your computer right now, only at the award-winning Honda BMW Express Purchase. Go to drivechampagne.com.
You used to tell them all those years ago, you can be anything, go anywhere. That's what you told them, right? And they listened and they tried. And sometimes they failed. But you said every failure is a lesson. So they tried again. Sometimes it seemed impossible, but impossible is never an option. You always said it was never easy to make it all the way, but you can do it. And so they did. To the graduating class of 2019, congratulations from the U of I Community Credit Union.
Very happy and honored to welcome in our studio. He's a detective. He's Sergeant Dave Griffith with Champaign. Great having you. It's 3 decades of work in this area of law enforcement. Why?
Growing up, that's what I wanted to do, and to get me on that path, I served in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and when I got out, I began seeking law enforcement jobs, and I was fortunate within a year and a half of that to get a job at the sheriff's office where I worked for 6 years, and the last going on 24, I've been at the city of Champaign.
Probably hit, Dave Madigan?
Actually, Joe Brown was the sheriff when I first got hired.
And then Dave Madigan. And Dan Walsh.
Dan was there, but I was already gone.
Okay. So Dave Griffith is now with Champaign, a special task force?
Supervisor of Street Crimes Task Force.
What does that mean?
So Street Crimes Task Force was created by the chiefs in the area. That it consists of officers from the Urbana, University of Illinois Police Department, and Champaign County Sheriff's Office, along with the Champaign police officers.
Brought to you by SK Exteriors. Their website, callsktoday.com. Listen to Lon Tay and Mike Carpenter. It's Tay and Carp. Weekday afternoons from 4 to 6, right here on ESPN 93.5.
To the studio, and the Ryan Hollins tweeting us, Drake absolutely has been talking trash for so long, and it finally paid off. Wow, Ryan, where was that hot take when we were sitting here?
You know what? Ryan was so focused on giving us basketball that he neglected the biggest nugget of all, which is right. If you just stay at something for long enough, eventually one instance of success can make it all seem worthwhile.
Wow. Derek says Anthony Davis because he's probably the next guy who will do what Kawhi did this season. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty lofty, Derek. Like, you'd have to have the whole East clear out of the main superstar and then go to the perfect scenario where you could come in and suddenly be the guy.
That being said, we know the East is going to be in flux with some of its power players this offseason, where Anthony Davis is the next big domino to fall.
That is true.
Him and Kevin Durant. Harry says LeBron James, without him in the playoffs, they've been far less interesting. Sorry, but Kawhi is just boring. Be very interested to see what the ratings look like overall for this playoff run, because we are dealing with something we haven't seen in almost a decade, which is LeBron not involved in the NBA playoffs.
I would challenge Harry's logic and say that interesting and popular are two different things. If you weren't watching the end of that game, watching Kawhi break through three guys to get a rebound. Like, I find the games to be incredibly competitive and incredibly interesting. They just might not be as popular.
I would say, however you measure it, we measure interest in ratings around these parts, and it'll be very interesting to see what it looks like. Mike says J.J. Watt, he popped the question this weekend, and he said yes.
She said yes?
She said, did I say he said yes?
You did.
I could see J.J. Watt getting proposed to.
Well, that's fair. Congratulations to J.J. Felix, Finland, once again world champions in ice hockey. Congratulations to Finland. We're back in 10 seconds.
Finning it.
To sound like Jason Fitz here. What was it? Was it a bad shot? Was it really a bad shot? That wasn't very good.
That was a really good.
Yeah.
That was a really good
great
impression.
Yeah.
It's Golick and Wingo.
That's what you sound like, folks. Golick and Wingo reminding you to tune into a Memorial Day doubleheader as the Red Sox host the Indians, followed by Mets at Dodgers. Coverage begins today at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and at 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
We came back with a little Maren Morris featuring Brothers Osborne. Shout out to my buddy TJ. Great work by them. Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. I can. I'm sorry, I can.
Every once in a while, it just leaks out of you. Jason Fitz, former fiddle player for the band Perry, band director. Every once in a while, it leaks out of you. And we went a whole, 2 hours and 43 hours and 45 minutes, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Math.
It's way longer than we went before you turned some random sports thing into an offensive line analogy. I still don't remember how you got baseball outfielding into offensive line play. Golick and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll be bickering all morning. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golick Jr., Jason Fitz, in for Trey and Mike as we get you set for your Memorial Day cookout plans, and a lot of conversation. Toronto headed to their first ever finals. We've been talking about that. They are a heavy underdog, obviously, as we go into this series. Now, Ryan Hollins, who we had on earlier, told us in no uncertain terms how this series is going to go. This is what he said.
I say 6, a hard 6. This is a faithful 6 to Toronto. I believe that this is the team that can attack the Warriors where in the paint. But the one thing that the Warriors are really good at, Jason Fitz, is they adjust, man. And if you're going to beat this team for 7 games, you've got to beat them in so many different ways and fashions and forms. How? You can win the battle in the paint. But guess what? The Warriors come out and they go big. DeMarcus Cousins may be healthy and back to get some quality minutes there. Let's say you focus all your energy towards Steph Curry. Well, Klay Thompson gets back. Well, we focus on Klay Thompson and Steph Curry got those two figured out. Andre Iguodala goes off for 17 points. Just ask the Houston Rockets. So the tough thing is they can play so many different styles and win.
And Tim Legler described it kind of as a randomness to the Golden State offense. You don't know where the ball is going to be. I think of it like if you've ever been to a bingo hall and seen the thing where all the bingo balls are bouncing around in and that hopper there. Everything's in constant motion for Golden State on offense. And even if Kevin Durant comes back, the best version of their basketball team has that element of randomness to it. And so it's a lot harder than just saying, all right, with Milwaukee, we're going to focus on Giannis and cut off the head of the snake.
By the way, if you missed our entire interview with Ryan Hollins, go check it all out on demand in the Golick and Wingo podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in just 5 minutes. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One, N.A., member FD. I see. By the way, the bingo hall thing, very overwhelming for me when you play like 52 different boards at once and they're calling it out. And how do you get the little dauber to get to that number that quickly? Like, it's,
man.
I'm out. I'm out on big.
You got to know
big
your
bingo.
cards at that point, man. Big money bingo is a staple of the Golick family summer coming up. We play for keeps.
Why am I not surprised by that? The Raptors, by the way, big underdog in this one. Right now, they're a plus 260, which means a $100 bet would win you $260, according to one of the odds makers. A little bit of perspective, that would put them as a bigger underdog than the Cavs were that beat the Warriors in 2016 in 7 games. Puts them as a bigger underdog than the Celtics that beat the Lakers in 6 games in 2018. So it's pretty unusual category for a winner. The biggest upset ever was 2004, at least in the last 30 years. 2004, the Pistons were a plus 500 and they beat the Lakers in 5 games. So they whooped up on the Lakers as a heavy underdog, but that puts a little context to how underdog the Raptors are.
And imagine saying that now, the confidence in this Golden State team coming off the Western Finals. Before the conference finals, we wouldn't have been talking about this. You had so many people predicting the Bucks as a team that were going to win this all. Golden State without Kevin Durant, there's no way they'd be able to snap back in to their old style. And, well, 1 series later on both sides, boy, what a different tune we sing.
I mean, are you singing a different tune when it comes to actually winning this, though? I mean, I know you were the one that was right on the Raptors early, and you looked at it and said, hey, this is simple. The Raptors were the best team in the East other than LeBron. Now there's no LeBron. They're going to be the best team in the East. They've added Kawhi. All of that's turned out to be true. I just don't think they have any way to stop the variety, to your point, the movement of the ball. I don't think they have any way to slow that offense down. And even though the Warriors have had their issues shooting the ball at different times throughout the course of this postseason, I don't know who's going to match up with who that's going to actually stop the Warriors from scoring at will.
No, it's been, I think the most concerning thing too is, yeah, you're not going to be able to stop Golden State from scoring, but also Golden State, we remember, buttered their bread as a defensive team for a long time, and we saw them get back to that during the Western Conference Finals. You had games where Andre Iguodala, remember, had that great strip on the final possession to seal that one. Draymond Green had 5 blocks in a game. They got back to defense during this run also, which is scary for a team that, yeah, while Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry gave you buckets in good spots, this playoff run's been defined by Kawhi having to score or assist on almost every bucket that the Raptors have gotten.
Well, and there was an interesting stat going into the weekend before Game 6 about wide open looks for VanVleet, and I think he had shot 7 of 8 in games 3 and 4, and before that he'd been 7 of 20 or something to that.
That was pre-childbirth.
Right, but the other part of that is that phrase that we didn't talk enough about is wide open looks. I mean, you're talking about VanVleet getting 30, 40 looks over the course of a series where no one was within 6 feet of him. I don't think that's going to happen against Golden State. They're going to have to work harder to get open looks, and I just don't know how VanVleet sort of thrives in that setting. And there are so many, to your point, there are so many players for Golden State that can lock down. They can lock down everybody, and you can't lock all of them down. That's just the mismatch in this that my mind can't get around.
Well, that's the thing. We talk about Andre Iguodala and Draymond Green as the first names out of your mouth on that, but you've also gotten in a series where we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard as probably the best player in the NBA and definitely the best two-way player. Klay Thompson would also like to raise his hand in that two-way argument, one of the best perimeter defenders this league has, in addition to being one of the 2 original Splash Brothers.
Well, and with Klay, you're talking about somebody that has the chip on his shoulder of recent disrespect because he didn't make the All-NBA team. What better way to sort of address that hard by coming out and becoming the Finals MVP? I mean, you come out and you're assertive, and you sort of come out at that point and say, now he's 20-1 odds right now. Steph Curry is 2-3, Kawhi 11-4. Klay, for context, is 20-1.
He's behind Kevin Durant, who we're not even sure when we're going to see in this series.
And that is an X factor for Klay. Like, I do believe that you're going to see Klay come out with a little bit of a, forget you. I'm capable of doing more than people think that I am. NBA Finals Game 1, by the way, is Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, as always. And, of course, on ABC. We'll get you caught up throughout the course of the week. Coming up, how cloudy is the Freaks' future in Milwaukee? We'll get to that next. Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio. And, as always, hanging out on ESPN News.
It takes more than hard work to make it to the pros. It takes smarts. The kind of smarts that can read a defense and pick it apart. And look, hiring's no different. You need smarts to find the right people. But you don't need to spend years honing your game. You just need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. Try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. That's ZipRecruiter.com/WINGO. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Stugatz here. We all have home projects we put off for too long. What's stopping you? For lots of people, they worry about overpaying and not getting a fair price. That's where Home Advisor can help. Their True Cost Guide shows you what others paid for similar projects. Then you can get matched with top-rated pros, read reviews, request quotes, and book appointments, all for free. Home Advisor makes it easy to get those projects done so you can relax this summer. To find the right pro at a fair price, just ask Home Advisor. Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities. Or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Available at Pet Boys.
The Gong, an instrument used to start a sumo wrestling match. At My Computer Career, it celebrates the start of a student's new life as an IT professional and completion of a student journey focused on the result, getting you out of an unrewarding job and into an IT career in as little as 4 months, even with zero IT experience. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science, you know. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Spring is here and it's time to golf at Stone Creek. My name is Becky Beach and I'm the PGA golf professional at Stone Creek Golf Club. This year we are celebrating our 20th anniversary with golf course and golf shop specials. Please stop by our fully stocked golf shop for all of your Stone Creek and Fighting Illini apparel. To reserve a tee time for our championship golf course, please call us at 217-367-3000 or book a tee time online at stonecreekgolfclub.com. We look forward to seeing you during our 20th anniversary celebration. See you soon.
This is Rob Meyer with Provident Financial Group. As independent financial advisors, we can help ensure you're following a strategy that makes sense no matter what the market is doing. Take control of your financial life with a complimentary consultation. We will create a plan that's right for you. Contact us today at 3017 Village Office Place in Champaign or call us at 217-366-3456 or online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
You have heard lions and tigers and bears, oh my, but what about dandelion, creeping Charlie, and crabgrass, oh my? These weeds can be destructive forces on your lawn. When figuring out the troublesome weeds, you need a respectable company that will give you the attention it needs. Spring Green is that company. Spring Green's lawn service program includes personalized lawn care, a mid-season checkup, and a civilized and transparent process. To check it out, go to spring-green.com or call 359-2111. Let's take a look in at the Schilling family.
If I hear one more drip, I will lose my mind, honey. Fix it.
I'm working on it. Give me a break. This is an easy fix. Trust me.
Don't you think our roof has had enough breaks?
Uh-oh. Had another break in the roof.
Fine, that's it. I am going online at freedomchampagne.com to get the real pros at Freedom Roofing. They won't even charge us for an inspection or a quote.
Hey, it's Shane from Rosati's Pizza. Let's face it, I like to party, you like to party. Any party is better with Rosati's. So if you've got an office party, a birthday, or those graduation parties that are all coming up fast, call Rosati's. You choose the menu, pizza, pasta, chicken parm, whatever you need. We got it all covered. Send the invites out, call the family, call the friends, bring everybody over, but don't forget to call me, Shane at Rosati's, 328-2334, or come see me at 701 South Gregory in Urbana.
A pipe burst and the basement begins to fill, putting the picture albums and the family heirlooms in danger. You can't plan on it, but you can plan for it by making sure you're ready for whatever happens with Serve Pro of Champaign-Urbana at 355-0077. With their mobile site at ServeProChampaignUrbana.com bookmarked, the 355-0077 programmed into your phone. When the things that matter most are on the line, you'll know that they are too. Make sure you're ready by planning with the trusted professionals of Serve Pro of Champaign-Urbana, like it never even happened. It's the Jeremy Warner Show, weekday mornings from 9 to 11, right here on ESPN 93.5.
Traeger and more.
Get free assembly, free delivery, and free fuel on our top grills and accessories $3.99 and up. From our store right to your door. Don't miss the Memorial Day sale. Happening now only at Ace. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members through May 31st. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions. Propane tank not included.
At AutoZone, we're all about giving you more ways to get more done. Like our free Fix Finder service. If your check engine light is on, our Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the real problem, saving you time and money down the road. Want help from a pro? We can help with that too. Keep your engine running clean with Fuel Injector Cleaner. It'll help maximize your engine's fuel economy so it can perform at its best. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
This is Golick and Wingo. For Monday, May 27th.
We the Bleeping North was out in full force.
You're on fire with the bleeping.
It's Memorial Day. We're playing fast and loose out here.
They've finally done it. The Raptors are the Eastern Conference champs. And for the first time ever, the NBA Finals will be played on Canadian soil.
I think the way that Kawhi Leonard is playing right now, he has played in this postseason like the best player in the NBA.
Golden State for a 5th consecutive season headed back to the NBA Finals.
Kawhi Leonard pulls this off and beats the Golden State Warriors. With or without KD. He beats the Golden State Warriors. Let me get you that right now. The king is alive.
On ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Jason Fitz, Mike Golick Jr. in for Trey Wingo and Mike Golick. As we take a look at the landscape around the NBA, there's a fair conversation that has to happen. You know, if Toronto had lost the Eastern Conference Final, the conversation afterwards would be, did they do enough to keep Kawhi? That would be what we'd all be running with for days. It's only fair to now flip that conversation because let's remember, the minute the NBA All-Pro team was announced a few days ago, it became known at that point that next year, after next season, Giannis Antetokounmpo can sign the richest contract in NBA history with the Milwaukee Bucks. The question is, have the Milwaukee Bucks done enough to ensure that Giannis Antetokounmpo remains their superstar for a generation moving forward? And that's a difficult question to answer, Mike.
Well, it's the worry we always have with small market teams and major star players, and we know the way the NBA's rules contractually have been put into place. They're trying to incentivize stars to stay with those teams with those monster deals, but it gets complicated when after that game, our own Malika Andrews, our ESPN Bucks reporter who covers the NBA, published an article saying that a source close to Antetokounmpo said that getting to the NBA Finals is not just an ambition, it could tip the scales as he weighs his contractual future. And if they reach the finals, it could really improve their chances of signing him to that Supermax in 2020, something that Giannis reacted to, at least it's perceived that way after the game.
Yeah, he was at the post-game press conference. It was Giannis and Chris Middleton. They were asked about adversity, and it didn't go particularly well. Check this out.
Malika Andrews, ESPN. For both of you guys, I'm curious, you guys have talked a lot about how at this point, you know, sometimes it takes experience. I'm wondering if now that you have some of that experience, if you see more validity to that point or what you think about that now that you've gone through it.
Just about experience. I mean, probably sit back, let this series digest a little bit, watch the film, watch the games. You know, like I said, experience, you have to go through some things to get to where you want to go. So hopefully we learn from this and move on from it.
You heard a long pause in the middle, and for any of you listening that haven't seen the clip on TV, that long pause is because Giannis Antetokounmpo just gets up and walks out. And there's a sort of a stunned moment from Chris Middleton watching him, puts his hands up like, okay.
Chris Middleton is shook. He did not see this coming. He sort of gave the nod like, all right, you'll answer this first. You're the star player on this team. And Giannis just pieces, and Chris Middleton is not sure what to do with that.
And that's part of the competitive fire, that defines certain guys. It's difficult in that moment afterwards to figure out how to answer it. But we hold athletes, right or wrong, we hold athletes to this standard right after their biggest moments, win or lose. We suddenly want them to be able to answer all of these questions. It's at least a stunning look to see the young superstar walk out.
Well, it wasn't a particularly triggering question. Now, a lot of people had questions because Malika Andrews had just published, basically right as the buzzer sounded, published that article talking about Giannis's future, and so people weren't sure if there was a reaction to that. I know Malika went on ESPN Radio this weekend and had an explanation for that as well, right?
Right. She was on Sunday Morning with Matt Schick and Myron Metcalf and explained that. Check it out.
Giannis is a ferocious competitor, and he and I have actually spoken since then. It's nothing personal, and I respect it, and that was he'd reached his limit of answering questions for the day, and that's all there is to it.
But Malika, it had nothing to do with you personally, nothing with you writing about how, if they need to get to a finals for him to stay, nothing like that. He just didn't, he was just done emotionally?
Yeah, he was just done emotionally.
Well, and that's, again, competitive fire for a player that we forget because he is just huge and because he's become such a massive superstar. He's 24, and I'll continue to say this. There's a piece of his game that I know we talk about has to develop. There's also a portion of life as the defining superstar of a team that's an MVP that has to figure out how to develop in these moments as well.
It's ironic that comes during a question about experience, right? About the playoff experience that we all talked about. Because this is one of those things, and we do this with post-game presser politics all the time, and I don't want to get to the point where we're raking this kid over the coals for this decision, but this is something you just can't do. You just make problems for yourself. Like, the Giannis that we've gotten to know is a really endearing NBA superstar so far. And you don't want to even start to open it up for stuff like this because you just make problems for yourself when it seems like you've got beef with Malika over something that is just stating the obvious, which is your future in Milwaukee is of great importance to them and that we know this team wants to make a final. Like, I'm glad, and I take her at her word that she says there's nothing personal here, but you just don't even want to give the appearance of that, especially for a question that was in no way inflammatory in that moment either.
Unfortunately, what we lack is context, and what he may have lacked in that moment is context. We know that article went up. We don't know if he saw it. We don't know if he was just frustrated. We're just putting pieces together because we have the advantage of seeing the entire pizza while he's just one slice of that pizza. So these are growing moments that I think we'll see, but the Giannis situation over the next 14 months is the only thing that matters to the future of the Bucks. Let's get you caught up on some of what's trending over the weekend. Oh, epic finish, battle for the ages, one to remember. Are there any other cliches I can use? They're all applicable here. I mean, they are all applicable. Simon Pagenaud defeated Alexander Rossi with a dramatic pass on the penultimate lap, held him off the rest of the way to win the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500.
Yeah, so Simon Pagenaud gets the win. Penske Racing Team gets an 18th Indy 500 win, 13 more than the next closest team. They actually had the top three favorites in this. Pagenaud was the favorite, odds on going into this. He came out in the pole position, so certainly not a shocker, but swapped lead change 5 times with Rossi in the final 13 laps. The margin of victory was just over 0.2 seconds. It was the 7th closest finish in 103 years of the Indy 500.
Just stunned that there were 6 finishes that were even closer than that. I mean, that's such a thin margin of victory because I've been saying it all day, and I want to. Gaston Chevrolet in 1920 is just a notable name because while he was born in France, he was not actually French, but one of the last Frenchmen to have won the award since then, and frankly, the coolest name I'm going to say all day, Gaston Chevrolet.
We call him Gaston Chevy in these parts, Jason. Wow. Gaston Chevy.
That
please
is spectacular.
Get it right for this.
Speaking of getting things right, you'll be the one to get this analysis right. Lacrosse happened.
Lacrosse happened and is going to happen. So first off, a congratulations to the Maryland women's lacrosse team, their coach Kathy Reese, and their pair of Tualatin finalists. Go ahead and get the dub this weekend. Megan Taylor, their goalie, led the way with 10 saves. They get their 14th national championship for the school. The men's side today, the game at 1 Eastern, I believe, on ESPN, is going to be Yale versus Virginia. Virginia beats Duke for the first time in 9 years en route to this finals appearance, and Yale's going to try and defend their national championships. The defending national champions ride the best face-off man maybe in the history of the sport into a game that's going to be fun. It's always my pitch this time of year. If you've never checked out lacrosse, scoring is up because of the shot clock. It moves fast. It's creative as all hell. It's a fun way to spend the middle of your Memorial Day while you chug some barbecue.
The game will be on at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Who should I root for?
You should root for fun. Okay, I just hope both teams have fun. No, it's going to be interesting. I like what Yale's put together over the last couple of years. Andy Shea, their head coach, is a guy who's definitely helped put this program on the map since he's gotten there, and obviously culminating in a final last year. We want to end What's Trending with a serious note and a tragic note. Rod Bramlett, the radio voice of the Auburn Tigers, and his wife Paula died from injuries suffered in a car crash Saturday night in Alabama. Bramlett was 52. His wife Paula was 53. Been the voice of the Auburn baseball team since 93. Took over play-by-play duties for football and basketball in 2003. We thought it would be appropriate to play one of his most famous calls for the memoriam for Rob.
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it to the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl.
Learford IMG College on the call there.
Yeah, I mean, you still get chills. The kick six in the 2013 Iron Bowl is going to be one of the most iconic sports plays of my lifetime, and Rod Bramlett was the voice for that moment. I think that was where most of the nation met Rod in that one. Saw a pretty heartfelt Twitter thread from our own Adam Amin, who was there as well, and remembered hearing that phrase, "They're not going to keep him off the field tonight," that Adam said he used years later of his own, but lauded the person that Rod was as a man and a voice that we all got to share with in that moment. But obviously unbelievably tragic, gone far too soon, him and his wife. So your condolences to the Auburn family and to their family as they try and cope with what has to just be an unbelievably trying time.
Rod was a 3-time winner of the Alabama State Broadcaster of the Year award, and was also honored as the National Broadcaster of the Year by Sports Illustrated in 2013. Again, our thoughts and prayers out to his family and our condolences to the entire Auburn sports family and community in this tragic, tragic moment. That gets you caught up on what's trending on Memorial Day. And while we're on, I know it was a heavy weekend in some ways, obviously with Rod, but also there was another passing as Bart Starr, NFL legend, passed over the weekend. And we wanted to get a little context and perspective on Bart, his legacy, and the man and the football player. So to do that, we're going to jump over to the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line where Bill Curry joins us. Bill, former Packers center, played with Bart. And Bill, thanks for the time this morning. We really appreciate it. I want to give you the chance to start out with just to give us your favorite great Bart Starr moment story that you have.
Wow, that's almost impossible to choose one because, and I know people will think I'm exaggerating because he befriended me in a way that nobody else ever has. He was already a superstar when I got to the Packers, so I was with him a lot. Then I coached with him. But I think I would choose this story. First of all, in a few seconds, he, with a very tired bunch of Packer teammates sitting on a bus wanting to get back to the dorm between practices, he would stand and sign 100 kids' autographs and glare at us if we complained. And he treated each child as if they were his own. He did that every day of his life. But there was another time when we were coaching together, and I was his offensive line coach, and Zeke Bratkowski was his quarterback coach, and we were at Bart's home. It was a rainy, cold afternoon in Wisconsin. I can't remember the time of year, but we were not doing well on offense, whatever was going on. And we're sitting in Bart Starr's living room, residential now, I emphasize, and there's a knock at the door. And we could hear Cherry, Bart's wife, speaking to someone, and the guy's very haltingly asking her something. And she said, well, and Bart says, who is it? And Cherry said, well, it's a gentleman, and he walks to the door. So we followed. And this guy was really embarrassed. He said, look, Coach Starr, I can't believe I'm doing this, but my father worships you, and he's not going to live much longer. If you could sign this piece of paper, I'll get out of your hair. Bart said, where's your father? He said, no, please don't. I mean, don't ask me that. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just could you just sign this paper? Bart said, where's your father? He said, well, he's out in the car. He said, go get him. That guy brought his father in there sobbing. Bart walks him through the house, shows him the Super Bowl rings. There were 5 of them. It wasn't called Super Bowl in those days until the last 2. Showed him the trophies, gave him the moment of his life. And Zeke and I are sitting over there rolling our eyes. And walks him to the door, and the gentleman turned and composed himself and said, Mr. Starr, my life is complete. God bless you. Bart walks back over to us, sits down and says, okay, where were we? And that is how he lived his life, giving to anybody that seemed to need him. And then in the clutch, in the fourth quarter, he delivered the plays that we needed to win. So his life was, it was of one piece, and he was a great, great man, and one of the great quarterbacks of all time.
Talking to Bill Curry on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line here on Golic and Wingo, 3-time NFL champion, including 2 Super Bowls, that Super Bowl I championship with Bart Starr that we've mentioned as we remember the late Bart Starr. And Bill, what an unbelievable story about the man that Bart Starr was, that you certainly came to know well. But you mentioned also, for so many of us like myself who never got to and will never get to see Bart Starr play in person, you were the starting center with him on that 66 Super Bowl team. You coached with him. What was it about Bart Starr on the field as a player that had him so respected and as such a figure in the NFL's history?
Well, by the time I got there, it was 1965, and what had happened so far is the young Packer team in 1960, when I say young, I mean in the Lombardi era. It was his second year. They got beat in the championship game in Philadelphia. And there seemed to be a sea change with that loss because Lombardi announced that it would never happen again. And guess what? It didn't. His final playoff record was 9-1, and that was the one. So there was some sort of resolve, and Bart could walk in the meeting room. He didn't like to talk about this. He would get real upset with me, but he would take Lombardi on in front of the team and say, wait a minute, let's get it right, coach. And nobody else would do that. It would result in death or worse. I mean, that's how we felt. But Bart could do that, and he didn't do it much. He only did it twice in the 2 years I was there, and I was just there a couple of years, so I wasn't a part of the real dynasty. But what happened is that he basically adopted me in that process, and when he stuck his head in the huddle, whatever he said, we knew was going to work, and more importantly, we knew that our opponent knew that we were going to beat him, and that's a great advantage.
We're talking to Bill Curry, a former Packers center, about Bart Starr, legend that passed over the weekend. What made Bart so special as a player on the field?
Well, his command of the game, his incredible study habits. He knew every iota of what we were doing. He knew exactly what the assignments were. If my man lit him up and knocked his teeth out, or if I broke his finger with a bad snap, which I did, he didn't say a word, not a word of complaint. He just lined up, got back in the huddle, gave us that glare with those eyes of his, and that's the other thing people don't know about it. He could cut you in pieces with his perspective and looking at you, and he would call another play. And if you want to have some fun as a football person, go get out all the films. And even though we didn't throw the ball nearly as much in those days as the teams do today, watch the key drives that won all the big games for those Packers, and I do mean all the big games, and watch how many clutch throws he made over and over. And I'm not talking about a simple little curl over the middle. I'm talking about outcuts and posts and digs and flies. And it's incredible to see the percentage of the big plays that he used to dominate those games.
Bill, we really appreciate your time, your perspective, and your memories. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
I got to add one thing. I remember Mike's 12th birthday at Syracuse. Mike, you were a little fellow running around. You were adorable then, and you are now.
Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. I have a lot of fond memories of you and Dad in the booth from those days, and someone I've known for a long time. I miss your voice on our answering machine at the Golick House often back in the day. So great to hear from you as always, Bill.
I'll have to call you up sometime.
Absolutely. Always
Much
welcome.
love.
Thank
love
you,
to
Bill.
all the Golicks. Okay.
Mike, these are it's always tough when somebody passes that's a legend, but there is opportunity for perspective. There's opportunity for learning. There's opportunity for legacy. And that's one thing that always stands out to me. How many people haven't necessarily seen the highlight reel of Bart Starr? They know the name, but they haven't seen the highlight reel. And while the TV broadcaster showed some of it in today's modern age, it's a great opportunity to go back and say, okay, I want to watch some of that old stuff because it's out there. It's out there to find. Watch some of that old stuff and see what makes it so special, because there's a historic way that was played that has changed the NFL, and that's sort of the opportunity that comes even in tragedy.
Well, and you're also going to see plays like the sneak that everyone obviously is well aware of. You're going to see the postseason record and that winning percentage and all those things, but what Bill just shared with us there, I mean, a guy who went out of his way to make someone's life in their waning moments and would take time for kids, and the way that always resonates with the guys. And I'm always interested, what resonates with the guys that shared a huddle and shared a locker room. And for those things to stick with Bill, who is a vault of football knowledge and history, a guy that played with Johnny Unitas as well and knows so well the history of this game. The way he resonated on Bill says so much about Bart Starr, the man.
It's Golick and Wingo. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. Coming up, championship parades are becoming far too common in Boston. So should Beantown start preparing for another one? We'll get to that after this.
After this word from Straight Talk, it's time for some Straight Talk. Look, you wouldn't spend more to get the exact same thing, would you? No, of course not. Who would? Looking at you, Fitz. So when I tell you that Straight Talk Wireless runs on the same cell towers as the big guys, but it charged you a lot less, you see where I'm going with this, right?
I do like a good deal.
It's America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost. Ooh. You can get the $45 unlimited plan from Straight Talk with 25 gigs of high-speed data for no contract. Only at Walmart, a city in its third Stanley Cup final since 2013. We figure out how they're going to somehow cope next. It's Golick and Wingo here on ESPN Radio. And you read the screen, I give the takes, all right?
It's Golick and Wingo.
Remember how the game goes around here. Wow. You done?
At AutoZone, we're all about giving you more ways to get more done. Like the AutoZone Rewards program. Members get more, like a $20 reward every time they spend $20 or more 5 times. Got more to do? We've got more for you to do it. Looking to protect your engine? Regular oil and oil filter change is the best way to keep your engine running strong and running long. And if you're looking to do the job yourself, AutoZone can help. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. See terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Discover's going further with miles rewards than we've ever gone before. Like sun on your face, book in your hand, kids playing in the sand further. Because the Discover It Miles card offers unlimited 1.5 miles on every purchase and will automatically match all the miles you earn at the end of your first year. So your 35,000 miles could become 70,000, plus no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use your miles to credit your statement. Get out there with your Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Discover match for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/travel.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Peter Burns.
The Kawhi Leonard thing to me is so intriguing going forward, because when we're discussing about 2020 and what happens, and I'm trying to figure out, Masai Ujiri made an unbelievable trade, but what's the unbelievable thing that keeps Kawhi Leonard there in Toronto? Like, what's the best case scenario for the Raptors? If you knew it right now, if you're a Toronto Raptors fan and you say, Kawhi Leonard will give you a championship right here, right now, but he is absolutely 1,000% gone. Or
you don't win this year, but you're going to get Kawhi for the next 5 years. And now you can potentially win more with Kawhi, but you're going to get Kawhi Leonard for 5 years. You take it now, right? You don't care. You give me the mercenary. Right. Give me the opportunity to win it. And banners fly forever. And that's exactly what the Raptors have.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It's the Memorial Day sale at Ace. The best time to buy the latest grills from our exclusive lineup of premium brands like Weber, Traeger, and more. Get free assembly, free delivery, and free fuel on our top grills and accessories $3.99 and up from our store right to your door. Don't miss the Memorial Day sale, happening now only at Ace. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members through May 31st. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions. Propane tank not included.
At AutoZone, we're all about giving you more ways to get more done. Like our free Fix Finder service. If your check engine light is on, our Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the real problem, saving you time and money down the road. Want help from a pro? We can help with that too. Keep your engine running clean with Fuel Injector Cleaner. It'll help maximize your engine's fuel economy so it can perform at its best. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Classic and rustic, contemporary, Hampton style, minimalist, or a combination of them all. We all have our own unique needs and particular styles and favorite color patterns, and Luther Falls understands that. They have an awesome creation suite on their website, remodelingchampaign.com, that allows you to pair different colors of cabinets, hardwood floors, and countertops. The staff at Luther Falls will take care of all your needs and make sure each cabinet and piece of flooring is perfectly set up. The quality of their products is second to none, and service that can't be beat.
As we watch the suburban garden gnome carefully without disturbing it, we notice that it moves like not at all. It's inanimate and utterly without brain function. But despite that, when a garden gnome hears about how Geico not only saves people money, but also gives them access to licensed agents 24/7 online and over the phone, it's clear to them you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. But on second thoughts, maybe don't watch garden gnomes too carefully. People might talk.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Yeah, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Hey, big guy, you tired of the runaround? You know, going from store to store, never finding your size? Here's a tip. Head to DXL. They are the one-stop shop for men's big and tall clothing, period. And at DXL, you don't have to be all hoity-toity to have a personal stylist. Their fit experts will help you find great styles in your size. It couldn't be easier. So head to DXL.com and check out a store near you. DXL Big and Tall. Built for you at DXL.com.
100 years of hard work can take you far. And no one knows that better than Goodyear. In 1918, we started the Akron Wingfoots basketball team, laced up and took to the court. And we've been outperforming the rest ever since. Goodyear proudly celebrates our 100th anniversary in basketball and our relentless dedication to being unstoppable. Goodyear, more driven.
Simon
Race car noises on IMS Radio Network as Simon Pagenaud wins the Indianapolis 500. For him, his first career Indy 500 win, and the first for a French-born driver winning an Indy since 1920. Meanwhile, in the NHL, we get ready to talk to Doc Emmerich. The Blues and the Bruins open the Stanley Cup Final tonight. For St. Louis, it's their first appearance in the Cup Final since 1970. For Boston, correcting myself from earlier, their third Cup Final appearance since 2011. I said 2013. It's still recent enough. They've been really good. Game 1 at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. And unfortunate news out of the NFL. Hall of Fame quarterback Bart Starr passed away at the age of 85. Bart Starr led the Packers to 5 NFL championships and was the MVP of the first 2 Super Bowls.
Oh, I'm supposed to read this now. SportsCenter is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Straight Talk Wireless runs on the exact same cell towers as the big guys, but for up to half the cost. The only question is, why wouldn't you? Get the $45 unlimited plan from Straight Talk with 25 gigs of high-speed data. Only at Walmart.
The Blues will go to the Stanley Cup Final and face off against the Boston Bruins. A rematch, 49 years in the making.
And the guys in St. Louis, you got a power play now. You got to keep going what you're doing. You got to check relentlessly through the neutral zone and continue the battle, man.
Let's go, Blues!
When other teams are winning championships, you don't want to be the team sitting there wiggling your thumbs wondering what's going on.
What do you believe is your biggest advantage over the Blues in the series?
Boy, that's going to be bulletin board material.
Somewhere on the beach, sipping something strong. Got a new girl.
It's Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. You can follow us on Twitter at Golic and Wingo, also on Instagram, also at Golic and Wingo. Mike Golic Jr., Jason Fitz. We're in on Memorial Day for Trey Wingo and Mike Golic. We should acknowledge, as we have been all morning, that today is about more than just hot dogs, hamburgers, and barbecues. Sports talk today is there is one reason for today, and that's to remember and celebrate all of the incredible people that have sacrificed so much to give us the opportunity to do things like this, Mike, talk about sports.
Absolutely. Today is a day everyone gets to spend with their family and friends. A lot of people have off work today, and so it becomes a good holiday for drinking, eating, and carrying on. But you get to do that because a lot of people have sacrificed for that. So big thanks to the men and women of the armed forces, past and present, who some of which made the ultimate sacrifice, and their families don't get to see them today. So to take a minute out of the day and say thank you to somebody in the armed services. If you have a family member, I'm sure that gratitude exists a lot of days, but especially on today, we remember the people we lost.
Absolutely. It's Golic and Wingo, and Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. St. Louis Blues, Boston Bruins, 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN, NBC.sports.com, and the NBC Sports app. And we say that because obviously this is going to be this is the long-awaited series. We'll say it that way. Long-awaited for the Blues, who haven't been in this position in longer than my lifetime, which is saying something because I'm old, and long-awaited for the Bruins because they haven't played in what feels like a month, although it's been about 12 days. So to help us break it down, Doc Emmerich from NHL on NBC joins us. Doc, thanks for some time here. I'm still sort of stunned at the rise of St. Louis, who was a team that was middling around the basement of the NHL standings in January. How did the Blues go from where they were then to where they are now?
Boy, it's not simple because there was a collection of things that happened, but to put it in simple one-sentence terms, a coach and a goaltender and a belief. The coach came on in November, and it took a while, as it usually does. There was a coach named Peter Laviolette that took over the Flyers and lost some games around Christmas time. They were 14th in a 15-team conference, and all of a sudden they got to the final, losing to Chicago in 2010. And it took Craig Berube a while, but they started to win, and then they acquired this goaltender through their system who had been benched for a while in the early part of the year, Jordan Bennington in San Antonio. Then Rampage gave him a chance to play, and boy, did he ever start to light it up for them. And when Craig Berube brought him on, they gave him a start in Philadelphia, and things started to turn around. And they put together a fabulous streak in January and February, and they rose in the standings, and then they impressed in the playoffs, and here they are. And Gloria to them. So there's Gloria against Dirty Water. There are so many wonderful storylines in this, guys, that this matchup is just going to sing. It's going to be fun starting tonight for sure.
Talking to Doc Emmerich on the show, Pennzoil Performance Line. And you're right. It really is from the song we know Gloria has taken the nation by storm because of this team in St. Louis. And you mentioned Binnington for St. Louis, but Tuukka Rask on the other side for Boston this postseason. It's been a hell of a redemption tour. As these two goalies square off, who are you giving the edge to going into this?
Well, because it's a longer-standing run for Rask, I guess you give the edge to him until Binnington, the younger guy, proves that he does it longer. Rask in the last 7 games, which the Bruins have won all, is 220 out of 229. There's not a coach in North America in hockey that would not take that run. You stop 220 out of 229 shots, you're just this side of perfect. And he has just been magnificent, but Binnington has too. And the remarkable thing is they're both coming in with plenty of rest. There's always that debate about how much rest is too much. Well, we'll see. We'll see how the first period goes tonight. Both teams are largely healthy. The Blues have not declared any injuries coming into tonight. They've had the 5 days off, and the Bruins have had a lot of time off. There's always that debate, and we always have plenty of time to research these things, guys. And the last 6 Stanley Cup finals in which one team had a lot of time off and the other team did not, the team with more time off lost. But that's not prophecy. That's just history, so we don't know. And that's all a part of what we've got when we penalty kill until 8 o'clock tonight. We just throw these things out because they're fun to do, and they don't have any bearing on what the two teams are going to do because, as you know, the athletes decide this. We don't decide it with our computers.
We're talking to Doc Emmerich, NHL on ABC. You can obviously hear him tonight as the Stanley Cup final gets underway. You just talked about the rest and what we don't know. So what are you going to look for in the first 20 minutes of this game to give you an indication of how rest is affecting the players?
What I'm anticipating is that both teams are going to come out hitting because they are big body teams. They delight in trying to hem each other up in their end of the ice. And so whoever wins the first face-off probably plays it in and goes burrowing in after it and trying to tie the other team up, and they do it with size. Both teams are built very large. There are some exceptions on the Bruins' defense, but if you're a small guy, it's Bears against the Rabbits, and the Rabbits just use their speed to bring the puck up ice. But normally these two teams play large body hockey. And there are teams that have smaller players, but those teams didn't make it to the final this year. And so there is talk within hockey, is this the kind of skill and this the kind of size that works in the regular season but doesn't work in the playoffs? And will this change the way hockey teams approach as they build their teams for the future? I don't know. But the larger teams did well this year, and these are 2 examples that we see playing for the Stanley Cup.
Playing big boy hockey, I like it. We're talking to Doc Emmerich with us on the show, Pennzoil Performance Line. And Doc, so much of the talk has been about history on the side of St. Louis. We mentioned the long drought in between Cup final appearances, but for more recent history for the Bruins, there are a lot of guys that were holdover from that 2013 Cup final team that ended up losing to Chicago. How much is that still on the mind of a lot of these guys back on the stage again?
Well, the good thing is that they are leader types, and Zdeno Chara and Patrice Bergeron, Tuukka Rask, David Krejci, and Brad Marchand all won in 2011 and then all lost in 2013. And they are none of them shy. They are all good talkers in the room. And so the ones that are the urgent young guys, and most of them are large, and most of them are a part of the aggressive Bruins that play up front hard, can listen and get their lessons from these guys that know what it's like to lose and know what it's like to win. And so I think that's the thing that I've noticed about the Bruins, because I've been with them for the previous 3 rounds, that they bring it hard in the very first period. There's nothing shy about them. And the Blues games that I've watched on television that have been carried by other broadcasters, it seems like that the Blues go at it the same way. And that will be the thing that I'll look forward to. The H in hockey stands for hitting, and we're going to see plenty of it. And the fact that the Blues don't have anybody that's won a championship before, I don't think is going to be lost.
Doc, we appreciate your time. Best of luck tonight and throughout the series. As always, great work. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for paying attention to our sport, and I appreciated so much the last half hour. And growing up in rural Indiana and watching the Packers on TV, I didn't know a whole lot. I never met Bart Starr, But I knew from what I read about him and what I watched about him on TV, he was this wonderful, devout human being that lived his faith by example, and we saw a lot of that in the stories that were told in the previous half hour. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Doc. That's awesome. We appreciate it. Guys, don't forget the St. Louis Blues, Boston Bruins, 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. NBC coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN, NBCSports.com, and the NBC Sports app. As somebody that was in Nashville when the Preds made their now historic run, the most incredible part about that run to the Stanley Cup final a couple of years ago wasn't just that they went there, it's that it changed the landscape of hockey moving forward in Nashville. I'll be interested to see if this has the same effect in St. Louis, because it is a city that is ready to explode. It is a city that's ready for that sort of a championship moment. It might be the right time for the right team to sort of come together and create something special moving forward.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a devout sports town that just had its football team ripped away not too long ago that now has a chance for its NFL franchise that has suffered through long stretches of middling years to finally come out on top. What a big moment for them.
Absolutely. Coming up, it's very simple. Who won the weekend? We'll get to that after this.
After this word from ZipRecruiter, it takes more than hard work to make it to the pros. It takes smarts. The kind of smarts that can read a defense and pick it apart. Hiring is no different. You need smarts to find the right people. But you don't need to spend years honing your game. You just need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology is going to scan thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invite them to apply to your job. Try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Wingo. That's ZipRecruiter.com/WINGO. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. We pick a winner next. Go look at Wingo.
Wrangler Outdoor. Pants and shirts that keep you comfortable in all conditions. Try them on today.
The Serta Perfect Sleeper savings event is going on now. But what makes the Perfect Sleeper so perfect? First, the Perfect Sleeper is all new. Second, it has a new comfort layer for 18% better pressure relief. Third, it's on sale right now, which means you should probably get going. Visit your local Serta retailer and save on a Perfect Sleeper today. Not just sorta comfortable, Serta comfortable.
Offer varies by retailer. See participating stores for details. Void where prohibited.
Hey, big guy, you tired of the runaround? You know, going from store to store, never finding your size? Here's a tip. Head to DXL. They are the one-stop shop for men's big and tall clothing, period. And at DXL, you don't have to be all hoity-toity to have a personal stylist. Their fit experts will help you find great styles in your size. It couldn't be easier. So head to DXL.com and check out a store near you. DXL Big and Tall. Built for you at DXL.com.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands. Summer's coming, and if your air conditioning isn't working properly, here's a great offer from Lands. For a limited time, we're offering instant rebates up to $1,000 or special long-term financing with approved credit on qualifying Trane systems. That's $1,000 in instant rebates or special financing. Call Lands for details or find us online at landsinc.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. Any season, anytime, you can count on Lands.
See Lands or visit Trane.com for complete program eligibility dates, details, and restrictions.
At Honda BMW, they believe in letting you make the choice when you're ready. And now you don't even need to come into their award-winning dealership to buy your car if you don't want to. Just go to drivechampagne.com, click on the type of vehicle you're interested in, and look to the right-hand side of the page. It says Express Purchase. That means you can buy a car on your computer right now, only at the award-winning Honda BMW Express Purchase. Go to drivechampagne.com.
Hi, I'm John, Prairie Gardens plant expert. If you're brand new to gardening, I always try to set you up with some easy to grow plants. Just a couple of questions. I would ask you whether you have sun and shade, and we have specific plants that would grow in those areas.
Come into Prairie Gardens today. We're here to answer all your garden questions.
Master gardeners, a lot of times it's just a collaboration. I'd be happy to talk with anybody, and sometimes we all can learn different things.
We'll help you create your extraordinary garden today at Prairie Gardens. Springfield and Duncan, Champaign.
This is Starla Carr with Provident Financial Group. At Provident, our job is to help people plan for and get through some of life's toughest challenges. Our mission is to provide each of our clients with individualized strategies, premier service, and independent thinking to help them achieve their financial goals. Contact us today at 3017 Village Office Place, Champaign. Call 217-366-3456 or find us online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Why? That's a question I have for you listeners out there. Why are you putting up with a bad lawn? Your lawn can be an integral part of your property. Be proud of having the greenest lawn in your neighborhood. Be proud of the lack of weeds in your yard. Let Spring Green put in the work so you can be prideful of your lawn. Spring Green Lawn Care offers the best value and plan specifically designed for the condition of your turf by their local professionals. Try the Central Illinois leaders in lawn care. Go to Spring Green's website today, spring-green.com, or give them a call at 359-2111.
We started 5 years ago in March, actually, so we're 5 years in the business, kind of taking our passion to grow the business. Everybody that we hire is good with people, good with customers. Everyone cares about the work they're doing, especially in storm situations as well. I always recommend using local contractors, guys that are there after the storm. When they call Freedom Roofing, you get an answered phone call, quick service. We follow up with the customers after the job. Our final job cleanup is second to none. Find me at freedomchampagne.com.
It's the Jeremy Warner Show, weekday mornings from 9 to 11, right here on ESPN 93.5.
Steve says Kyle Lowry, he gets to keep riding Kawhi's coattails all the way to the top.
Wow. I mean, that's a pointed comment. Braden, I like this one. Jurassic Park, the movie, not the place outside the Raptors arena. This is the most promo the movie has had since it came out. I think they both won, but yeah, I'll give them that.
Those folks outside of the arena get all the love and then more. That scene from downtown after that game looked biblical.
Will says, I won the weekend. My wife was a pro and delivered our son after only 6.5 hours of labor.
Will
did win the weekend.
No, Will did the thing again. Will has, in fact, lost the weekend because, like most men in his situation who have been tweeting into this show or its previous incarnation for years, he failed to give us the name of his wife who did the work or the name of this son who was then the product of said birthing process. Will, lock in, man. Wife's name, the staple.
Limited characters, maybe?
No.
I'm just trying to help.
Well under 280. Will messed up.
I'm just trying to help.
Dustin says Justin Bieber. No one talking about him being an annoying Canadian thanks to Drake, which has to be a win for him. Yeah, Justin Bieber been a lot quieter lately in this latest iteration of him, but Drake has to be considered a winner because regardless of what you're saying about him, you're talking about him.
Well,
Drake is winning.
That is absolutely true. Nothing we can do about that. Calvin, Boston, because why wouldn't they be in another championship? I mean, does the Bruins Stanley Cup Final take away the sting of what the Celtics fans hoped would be a better season from them? I mean,
yes.
I'm just trying to troll.
And
here.
They've got the Patriots. Literally, no weapon formed against Boston area sports can prosper right now. You're just spitting into the wind.
It was a fumble. There's no such thing as a tuck. We're back in 10 seconds.
Wingo, reminding you that ESPN Radio recognizes National Military Appreciation Month, brought to you by the Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families for over 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Jason Fitz, Mike Golick Jr. in for Trey Wingo and Mike Golick on this Memorial Day edition. As we're sort of getting you warmed up, you're getting the grill ready soon. We're getting you warmed up for that, but we'll do it with a little celebration as we do every single Friday. My mind's already there. As we do every single Monday, as we let you know who won the weekend. Mike, do you have a staggering winner to who won the weekend for you?
A nominee for who won the weekend? Man, it was hard for me in the images of what we saw in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals this weekend. Toronto all getting over the hump. Seeing Kyle Lowry out on the floor with his family. He had his two kids in the Lowry jerseys. A guy who had been one of the holdovers, but certainly one of the maligned holdovers from the Raptors teams that had never gotten past LeBron. Seeing him get to celebrate that moment I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. But, better weekend winner, Toronto is a city. I mean, the party scene outside, even as I was sitting watching Game 6 with friends, the comment everybody was making is like, man, I got to go see a game in Toronto. I want to go to Toronto. Everybody's having that conversation because of the party outside. Like, Toronto wins in this. How many people didn't realize how epic the party is in Toronto, which is, by the way, aside from all of this, a great city?
I think most people knew Toronto was kind of game time as a city. Like, that's a place I think Toronto gets the respect it deserves as a city. I know people that will look at Toronto as a bachelor party destination that in general is looked at. I think Toronto gets respected.
You hang out with a much more cultured group of people than I do. Because I don't. Well, what?
The difference between Notre Dame and Juilliard.
Oh, right? My God. Golick and Wingo reminding that if you missed our interview today with former Packers center Bill Curry, go check out the entire thing on demand in the Golick and Wingo podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in just 5 minutes. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One NA, member FDIC. I will take somebody off the who won the weekend list in my mind, and that's Kawhi. Like, Kawhi didn't win the weekend because he's Kawhi. Like, he's already been to a finals. He's already got an MVP.
Yeah,
like,
but he didn't lifted up an entire city.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a moment of Kawhi where it's like, he's not doing cartwheels thinking he's won anything yet. He's going into the finals. Like, I don't think Kawhi's got this great excitement for, this is uncharted territory for me.
Well, don't mistake Kawhi's lack of excitement for what this means for him. Kawhi's one of the centers of the NBA universe going into this offseason. We talk about him, Kevin Durant, and really Anthony Davis as the three principal movers and shakers.
Yeah, but none of that changed based on what he did this weekend. I mean, if you're talking about who won the weekend.
It got more difficult, the process of him potentially leaving after this weekend.
But that's not a win for Kawhi. That's a win for Toronto.
Well, listen, I think anytime you accomplish this at a place like Toronto that has had the kind of inability to get over this hump that they've had, and you bring that to a city, even us looking at Kawhi and thinking him as this cold, unfeeling robot, that's a cool moment for him. He's being lauded by a country.
He's one of the best.
Country.
He's one of the best players in the NBA.
You know what San Antonio wasn't? A country.
They do have good Mexican food. He was one of the best players in the NBA going into the weekend. He's still one of the best players in the NBA going out of the weekend. He was going to be one of, if not the most coveted free agent should he choose to walk at the end of the season. He's still going to be one of, if not the most coveted free agent. Like, none of the equity in the bank that he gained from the course of the weekend, using not the bank literally but figuratively, changed. So that's why I don't think it was some big dramatic win for Kawhi. Kawhi went out and did what Kawhi does. Just kicked everybody's butt because he's spectacular.
Yeah, what do you know from funny? We'll throw some love in for J.J. Watt, who's a guy that we know from the radio show Following Us. Doesn't always get a lot of love around here, but found love in real life. He's getting engaged.
Yeah, that's
Kalia Ohai, I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right, is actually a professional women's soccer player. And so her and J.J. Watt, I think, had been dating for a while, according to his various Instagram posts, but finally tied the knot there.
Kevin Na also, and his caddy. Kevin Na wins $1.3 million, but he also wins a 1973 Dodge Challenger that he immediately gives to his caddy. That is that's a pretty spectacular. Like, I would be more than willing to caddy for Trey and Mike if there was a 1973 Dodge Challenger.
Kevin Na, who you somehow butchered a 2-letter last name earlier in the show. Kevin Ya, according to Jason Fitz.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2 letters.
Well, that's at that point, it was Kevin Na on the sheet, N-A, with the period after it. So then I was like, is this an abbreviation I don't know?
Do you think it was like an element all of a sudden?
No, I thought like Kevin Na was going to lead into the next.
We don't want to go back to Element Twitter, all right? I've been down the road with Element Twitter, and it is actually a more supportive place than I gave it credit for, being honest.
You tried to walk yourself out of the loss you took in Element Twitter, if memory serves me correct.
Sodium's a real bleep, you know?
Oh, my God. This is did the Warriors win the weekend at all? I mean,
man, the Warriors are slowly becoming like the Patriots, where they may just win everything no matter what we try and do. You remove Kevin Durant from the equation, they cruise through the Western Conference Finals. They get all this rest time watching these two teams slug it out in the Eastern Conference Finals. Hard not to look at this as a win for them. Although Kevin Durant, I don't know. We heard some comments from him again. We heard him on Twitter. You wonder if this is going to be a net win for him, depending on if he can come back or not.
Also, your dad mentioned this, and his name's on the show, so we have to throw it in by contract. Pete Dupree, 96-year-old World War II veteran, but he played the harmonica before the women's national team game on Sunday for the national anthem. That is pretty amazing.
This was one of those moments where I was sitting at home and I watched my dad drink this in real time. He was watching this on his phone on the couch, and in my dad's, the only way my dad can do it, looks up and goes, "That was awesome," in his voice, and obviously said he wanted that on the show, and I told him he could tweet it in like everybody else. But for that moment, for what that means, obviously on a day like today, for Pete Dupree to have that as part of this weekend as we honor the fallen and honor the people that served. Awesome, in my dad's words.
That's the most important. Who won the weekend? We all did, thanks to the amazing, incredible people that have given so much sacrifice in their lives, so much sacrifice for our country, for our freedom. As we've been saying all morning, Mike and I both, and for everybody on this show, we get to do what we do because people better, stronger, braver, all around awesome, amazing people made an incredible sacrifice to give us this opportunity. So we all won the weekend thanks to them.
Yeah, so a big thank you to the men and women, past and present of the armed forces. We appreciate you.
Tuesday on Go Look at Wingo, Chris Long, Tom Thibodeau, Buster Olney, Tweeter deleted. All of that we'll explain.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the Memorial Day sale at Ace. The best time to buy the latest grills from our exclusive lineup of premium brands like Weber, Traeger, and more. Get free assembly, free delivery, and free fuel on our top grills and accessories $3.99 and up. From our store right to your door. Don't miss the Memorial Day sale. Happening now only at Ace. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members through May 31st. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions. Propane tank not included.
Today, business happens here, and virtually anywhere. Because today, innovative companies are reinventing the way business happens, and they need people who can keep up. With the expertise and technology to get packages to over 150 million delivery points. So, who can help you deliver the future of commerce? The United States Postal Service. See why we deliver more e-commerce packages to homes than anyone at USPS.com/future.
100 years of hard work can take you far. And no one knows that better than Goodyear. In 1918, we started the Akron Wingfoots basketball team, laced up and took to the court. And we've been outperforming the rest ever since. Goodyear proudly celebrates our 100th anniversary in basketball and our relentless dedication to being unstoppable. Goodyear, more driven.
The clock is ticking on Dell's Small Business Month celebration. Enjoy up to 45% off select computers with Intel Core processors, plus a free external hard drive with select computer purchases before it's too late. Call them at 877-BUY-DELL to speak with a small business technology advisor today. That's 877-BUY-DELL for tech advice and one-on-one partnership.
Hello, this is Shane Coulter from Country Arbors Nursery. In 1865, my great-great-grandfather, Robert Blaine Coulter, came to Central Illinois with dreams of growing plants for a living. 5 generations and 144 years later, I'm proud to say we're still growing plants for Central Illinois. We're still a business where you can come out to the store and see the faces you've seen for decades, where you know the employees by name. If you had our landscape crew come out 20 years ago to build your patio or plant your trees, those are the same exact guys coming out today. If you want to find out more about our history, our people, and especially our plants, you can go to countryarbors.com. I'm Shane from Country Arbors Nursery, and have a nice day.
Hi, it's Stevie J. When I needed a new roof, I called Roof Doctors. Actually called a lot of roofing companies to get estimates. But you know, I felt great talking to Randy. I felt that he was honest, reliable, and affordable, and I felt I could trust him. You know what? I was right. They did a terrific job. After they did my roof, I had them do my mom's roof. You know how much you have to like a company to recommend to your mom? With 30 years of experience and the best warranties, call today for a free estimate at 328-7529 or go to roofdoctorsco.com.
Think Rosati's Pizza for lunch or dinner today. We recently did a taste testing, and the people eating were pleased, to say the least.
Oh my gosh, look at my plate. Ooh, look at that.
Oh, this is the money. That was good.
Stop by Rosati's Pizza today and you'll be pleased too. Wings, pasta, pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. Make it Rosati's Pizza for lunch or dinner. 701 South Gregory, Urbana.
Oh, this wine is putrid. I don't quite understand how the enologist made these choices with this Pinot Grigio.
Ugh, why am I here? All I want is some beer, some sports on my eyes.
That's when Charlie realized he should have gone to Scotty's Brewhouse.
Who is this? I mean, you're right, but still, this is weird.
I'm the narrator, and your next line is, I'm going to Scotty's Brewhouse in Champaign.
I'm going to Scotty's Brewhouse in Champaign on Neal Street.
I lost everything in my addiction, but God has restored everything and more through Lifeline Connect.
The dream has come true. Lifeline Connect Residential Recovery Center. We will soon open our new 24-man facility. Tours will be given. Come meet current and former residents and other businesses that help make it happen. It is Thursday, May 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. right across from the Apple Dumpling in Urbana. We hope to see you there. For more information, call 621-9649 or lifelineconnect.org.
It's hard not to be a fan of a credit card that gives you more while saving you money every single day. The Illini Visa Rewards Card, available only through U of I Community Credit Union.
Listen to Lon Tay and Mike Carpenter. It's Tay and Carp. Weekday afternoons from 4 to 6, right here on ESPN 93.5.
Clothing, period. And at DXL, you don't have to be all hoity-toity to have a personal stylist. Their fit experts will help you find great styles in your size. It couldn't be easier. So head to DXL.com and check out a store near you. DXL Big and Tall. Built for you at DXL.com.
100 years of hard work can take you far. And no one knows that better than Goodyear. In 1918, we started the Akron Wingfoots basketball team, laced up and took to the court. And we've been outperforming the rest ever since. Goodyear proudly celebrates our 100th anniversary in basketball and our relentless dedication to being unstoppable. Goodyear, more driven.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.